my little gavel here. Could we have the roll call, please?
Ann Brinkman.
Present.
Alan Bucknam.
Present.
Mark Dietrich is absent. John Dwyer.
Here.
Dean Goki.
Here.
Dick Matthews.
Here.
George Pond.
Present.
Steve Timms.
Here. Could we have the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the order of the agenda. Are there any changes anyone would like to make to the agenda? I have one if nobody else does. We need to elect officers for the Planning Commission tonight, so I would like to add that under item 8.
I move to approve the order of the agenda as amended.
Second.
Please vote.
And that motion passes unanimously. And you need to vote
I
just
got
to the
the
one
wrong
at the
one.
left.
I couldn't find it. Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Are there any additions or changes anyone would like to make?
I move to approve the minutes of the February 4th, 2010 meeting.
Second. Please vote.
Okay, and that motion passes with Commissioners Pond and Goki abstaining, and Commissioner Bucknam would probably abstain.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was in error there. I should have abstained. If you can re-record that.
Thank you. Now's the time for the public forum. At this point in the meeting, anyone in the public may speak about any item that is not on the agenda tonight. Is there anyone signed up?
No one has signed up.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak about any item that's not on the agenda tonight? Very good. That closes the public forum. At this point, we'll open the public hearing on case numbers MS 1001 and WA 1002, an application filed by Keith Gantenbein for Crawford Holdings for approval of a two-lot minor subdivision plat with a lot width variance for property zoned residential 2 and located at 3400 Wadsworth Boulevard. Is there a staff presentation, please?
And please bear with me tonight. I do have a cold, so hopefully my voice holds out.
We need to turn the lights down.
That's probably a good idea.
Do we have the lights down for the presentation, please?
There we go. There we go. You got him.
He's getting them. Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, Meredith Reckert, Wheat Ridge Community Development Department. This is case number WA 1002 and MS 1001, approval of a two-lot minor subdivision with a lot width variance at 3400 Wadsworth. Applicant and property owner would be Keith Gantenbein for Crawford Holdings. Present zoning on the property is residential 2, and current land use is as single-family dwelling and vacant. I would like to enter into the record the subdivision regulations, the zoning ordinance, case file and packet materials, and the contents of this digital presentation.
Noted.
The property is within the city of Wheat Ridge, and all proper posting and notification requirements have been met. Therefore, Commission does have jurisdiction to hear this case. Again, this is a twofold request at 3400 Wadsworth. The applicant is requesting approval of a two-lot minor subdivision with a lot width variance on property zoned R2. The purpose of the request is to subdivide an existing house off the property into a single parcel, leaving another parcel available for duplex development. Because this is a minor subdivision with no right-of-way dedication, Planning Commission is the final authority for approval. And I do have one correction to the staff report. and that is that a supermajority vote is needed to approve the variance, but not the subdivision. Variance approval would come first. The property is shown on the overhead as being outlined in red, and it's roughly 24,000 square feet. It is zoned R2. It's somewhat of an unusual lot configuration because it's got frontage on Wadsworth, which runs along its western boundary, and Webster, which runs along the eastern boundary. There's an existing house in the northwest corner. The lot frontages on Wadsworth would be about 68.44 feet with 128 feet on Webster. And again, there is an existing single-family residence built on, I would say, the western portion of the property. Looks like it's about 1,300 square feet and was built in 1897. And if you've driven past there, probably saw some activity happening on the property. The owner is refurbishing that existing residence and doing some work on the site, including removal of some of these existing structures that are on the eastern side. The R2 development standards provide that you can have single-family residential development in the city of Wheat Ridge if you have a minimum lot size of 9,000 square feet with 75 feet of lot width. Duplex-sized lots need to have 12,500 square feet of area with 100 feet of lot width. This is really the same aerial photo, however, with our zoning overlay on it, and the reason it's all shown in sort of that funny colored yellow is because it's all zoned R2 on all sides of the property, including on the other side of Wadsworth. It's interesting, though, if you take a look at the way the lots are configured. Again, we've got Wadsworth over on the west with Webster on the east. And if you take a look at these existing lots adjacent to the property, both to the north and to south, they are substandard in size relative to the R2 development standards. I think that this one to the north is about 4,500 square feet. This one to the south is about 5,100 square feet. When they both have around 50 or 60 feet of lot frontage. So all of those along that Wadsworth frontage are substandard to the current standard. I would note, though, that they were platted. Well, they weren't platted. They're actually unsubdivided pieces, and it appears that the structures were built anywhere from 1965 to 1941. The existing house we're talking about tonight was probably the first house on the property, having been built in the late 1800s. Now, if we go over to the Webster side, where we've got about 124 feet where the lot spreads out, we also have R2 zoning, but it's more contemporary development. These parcels, which are directly across the street, were subdivided in 1951 as part of the Connolly subdivision, and they're a little bit over the standard for R2, being about 14,000 square feet each, and they both have two-family dwellings on them. This lot directly to the north, again, is about 14,000 square feet and has a two-family dwelling on it. It was built in 1960. Okay, let's take a look at some of the slides of the property. This slide was taken from Wadsworth looking east towards the front of the existing property. This is the house. You can see that the owner has been doing some repair work on some of the stucco work. The houses to the north and south, again, are both zoned R2. Now I'm standing on Webster Street, so on the direct opposite side of the property looking east. This is that existing duplex that's on the east side of Webster. This is looking south towards the terminus of Webster. It just dead ends, and you can see there's an existing structure and a house behind it that would preclude any sort of continuation of the road without some sort of acquisition. This is the south side of the property. You can see there's some excavation going on. Moving on, this house in the background is along Wadsworth, is not part of the property. This is the existing house that's being refurbished. This is a little bit closer view of some of the work that's going on there. He has, the owner has gotten permits for all the work that has been performed. This is the house on the west side of Webster, directly to the north. Again, it is also a duplex, around 14,000 square feet in size. And this is looking south on Webster Street. And the property in question, of course, is off on the left-hand side. This is a copy of the proposed plat that we're looking at tonight. Again, to help orient you, north would be to the top. On the western perimeter, we've got Wadsworth Boulevard. Webster is over on the east side, and it is showing the two lots being subdivided. The house that you saw that was in the process of being repaired is located about at this location. Again, the proposed plat will divide the property into two lots. Lot 1 would contain the existing single-family residence. It is in a flag lot configuration, which has access over to Webster Street. So we call that appendage the flagpole to the flag. And the reason for that is because there is existing access to Wadsworth, but it's a pretty safe, unsafe situation. It's sort of at the crest of the hill, and so there's not very good site access. And so that was one of staff's requirements, is that there be access from Webster and that access to Wadsworth be eliminated. Proposed Lot 1 contains about 10,000 square feet, and it is substandard to the R1 standard for single-family development, being only 68.3 feet in width, where 75 feet is the standard. And as I mentioned before, you would need to grant a variance in order for the subdivision to be approved, and that will have to occur first. We have taken a look at the existing home on the property and have been able to tell that there will not be a problem with any of the other new setbacks that would be created as a result of this lot configuration. Lot 2 will be, excuse me, the new lot on Webster Street, and it is, I want to say, about 14,000 square feet in size. It exceeds both the lot size and the lot width for R2 duplex construction in the R2 zoning. And of course, any new construction on it would have to be compliant with the setbacks and lot coverage for R2. Sorry. The property is located within the Wadsworth sub-area plan boundaries, and as a result of that, we'll experience some changes in the future. Now, what this picture on the overhead is trying to depict is the existing property, which is outlined in blue. It shows the eventual width of Wadsworth, which will be 150 feet. And in order to meet that standard, city is asking for what varies from 25 feet on the, thank you, Ann, 25 feet on the north to 30 feet on the south as far as the future reservation area. Now, quite honestly, there is no funding for CDOT to construct Wadsworth in the near future. Actually, I think in the 25-year plan, it might be targeted, but that is very far off. And as such, we are just requiring a reservation at this point. It's really too premature to require this property owner to do any sort of dedication and do construction of public improvements. And so therefore, Public Works has asked for that reservation for when that does happen. If and when Wadsworth is constructed, CDOT would come in and negotiate separately, and typically they offer a fair market value for whatever acquisition they would have to do before any sort of property construction would occur. And you can see how this impacts all of those string of houses and properties up and down Wadsworth. So 75 feet from center line, which is at this location, to the yellow line, which would be that new future right-of-way line if and when Wadsworth gets constructed. Taking a look at the R2 development standards, this is a matrix that was included in your packet. So what I've done here is I've tried to lay out what the different standards are for the R2 development. And if you read across for the R2 standards for single-family minimum lot size, the requirement is 9,000 square feet. Moving to the right, the minimum lot width is 75 feet. For two-family development, the minimum lot size is 12,500 with 100 feet of lot width. Lot 1, which is that property that's got the existing house, which would be along the Wadsworth frontage, is about 1,600 square feet over the minimum lot width, or lot size, excuse me, but they're right at 6.7 feet under the lot width, therefore requiring the variance. They've only got 68.3 feet, and they need 75. Lot 2, which is the one that will be on Webster, exceeds the R2 minimum lot size by about 2,000 square feet, and they are also over the minimum lot size being at 108 feet versus 100 feet required. Because they are requesting a variance, we had to take a look at the variance criteria, and I'm not going to go through it detailed like it is in your packet, but what we have concluded are the following. First of all, we conclude that there would be no impact on the character of the area due to the numerous nonconformities in the immediate vicinity with those lots up and down Wadsworth already being so far substandard in size and width. We have concluded that it would result in a substantial investment in the property. We'd be getting two new attached single-family residences out of the deal. We are looking for new housing in the city, and that is one of the goals identified in the NRS as new contemporary housing. There would be no impact on public welfare, injuries to neighboring property, impact on the amount of light and air or street congestion. We've concluded that there are circumstances which are prevalent throughout the neighborhood, and that without the variance, we could end up subdividing with a more illogical lot configuration. And I will go into that next. This is one of the proposals that the applicant brought to us, and we took a look at it, and we said, by doing so, and having, you know, obviously, here's Wadsworth up here, here's Webster on the south, by having this funky appendage that comes out to the east or the south, yes, you would meet that lot width minimum of 75 feet, but it ends up being a bad lot design. In the past, I've seen, and I've worked here for 25 years, I've seen some pretty silly lot configurations in order to meet the underlying zoning on a property. And this is just, in staff's opinion, something that will be a problem for those new property owners in the future. What will end up happening is if this is approved, or if the variance is denied, and he comes back and he reapplies with this actual configuration, this will end up being a conflict between these two property owners, and we will end up having to further subdivide in the future to make some sort of correction, because I said somebody will put a fence here, and this will where all the old bicycles will be stored, or the garden put in. And I just anticipate it being a problem. And that is why we are supporting the variance request. I apologize about my voice. This was a copy of the elevation that was included in the packet. This is what is proposed to be constructed on that lot on Webster if the subdivision is approved. All agencies can serve the property. CDOT had no objections to the actual subdivision. They did ask that there be no additional access to Wadsworth and that existing access be eliminated, which the applicant is doing. Both Wheat Ridge Water and Wheat Ridge Fire can serve, as can Xcel Energy. Public Works has reviewed the plat and has indicated that it is approvable. They will require the installation of curb gutter and sidewalk along Webster, and that there will be a future reservation for Wadsworth, which is also being shown. Finally, the Parks and Rec Commission will require fees in lieu of parkland dedication for the two new units on Webster. We are giving a recommendation of approval for both of the requests, and two conditions with the subdivision. Number one, that there be a subdivision improvement agreement with security at the time of recording. Also, that the fees in lieu of parkland be paid at the time of recording. That concludes the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you for that valiant effort. Are there any questions for staff at this point? Commissioner Brinkman.
Sorry.
No, my fault. Is there an existing irrigation well on that property right now?
There is an existing sanitary sewer line that will have to be accommodated as part of it. Did you see a manhole out there? 'Cause
No.
That's probably what it was.
Okay.
I'm not aware of an irrigation line. If there is, perhaps the applicant could
Okay.
address that.
Okay. That was my only question for right now.
Okay.
No others? Thank you. And does the, I'm sorry, Commissioner Goki.
Meredith, if this variance is granted, my biggest problem with this is how the owner of Lot 1 will get rid of his snow if there's a 6-foot fence put up on both sides of that particular drive that's almost 100 feet long.
That would be a question for the applicant. Actually, we have flag lots all over the city, and it doesn't seem to be a problem for people.
I disagree. Can I disagree?
You may.
Thank you.
I'm going to chime in here. I have a very normal lot, but I have a 150-foot long driveway by choice, and I have no problems getting rid of my snow.
And I have a lot that is 150 feet long. My driveway's 150 feet long, and it's 14 feet wide, and I have cancer, and it's a problem. And especially if my neighbor puts up a 6-foot fence to contain her dog that keeps jumping, then I really got a problem. Okay, so I can see there being a real problem here. So I guess the applicant needs to answer that. Can we put a stipulation on it that there'll be no 6-foot fences for that 100 feet?
That would actually be an improper condition to be placed on a subdivision.
Why is that?
It's not germane to the discussion, and it's a zoning requirement.
It's a what?
It's a zoning standard, and it's just not appropriate.
Okay. Interesting verbiage. Thank you.
Any other questions? And does the applicant have a presentation? Please step up to the podium, and if you would give us your name and spell your last name and your address, please.
You bet. And after Meredith, my throat feels scratchy. My name is Keith Gantenbein. I live at 8106 Drew Hill Road in Golden. I grew up in Wheat Ridge, went to Wheat Ridge High School, graduated in '74. My father and my mother still live in Wheat Ridge at 4480 Balsam Street, and my father is my partner in this company. To answer Ann's question about the well, there is no irrigation, there's no laterals, there's no ditches, and the property, the old house, is served by Wheat Ridge water. There's no well. It's also on sanitary sewer, and that goes out on Webster. To answer Dean's question, sorry, there's glare on your placard. What we're planning on doing with the 6-foot fence at this point in time is we're going to fence Wadsworth. There's a curb cut on Wadsworth now, and that we want to get rid of that because it's dangerous. So we want to get rid of that. And we kind of want to block off the view of the neighbors, and we definitely want to block off the view of Wadsworth. So there will be a 6-foot fence on the west property line. There'll be a 6-foot fence on the first 60, 70 feet coming down the north line. And we're going to wrap around that building to the south. There's an old duplex that sits right against Wadsworth. We're going to wrap around it. And that's as far as we've decided on what we're doing with fencing. It would be unlikely, Dean, that we would fence the whole flagpole, or whatever they're called, for a couple of reasons. But it is possible that part of it would get fenced, especially towards the west. But as you get closer to Webster, you just don't want it. The neighbor to the north's got a tall fence, but we don't want to have a 6-foot wood fence that's coming all the way out to Webster because they just don't look good. Or at least I don't think they look good, and I think I get to decide. As Meredith said, I don't know how much more I can add to Meredith in her presentation, but my take on this is, we're spending a lot of money to make that house look good, and we intend to spend a lot of money to provide 2 high-quality townhome residential units there on Webster. We're going to finish out the sidewalk, curb gutter and sidewalk on Webster, and do some improvements there. I think we're going to make it a safer neighborhood because what we bought wasn't very safe in terms of an abandoned building in really poor condition. We could have destroyed it. We could have bulldozed it and had the building site, but it's been a lot of fun fixing the place up. It's a pretty cool house. And it looks a lot better today than, because my painter just got done with the outside of it. So it's getting there. It takes time. There's a lot of work there. So from that standpoint, it's been a ball. We didn't really have to do the variance, but we would have ended up, the 2-lot subdivision that conforms without the variance looks horrible and doesn't function well. So that's why we're asking for the variance. It just leaves the best configuration if we get the variance, and it's a small variance. It's 6-7 feet. It's less than 10%. So it should be 75 feet. It's going to be 6.5 foot of variance, which is not a big request, but it is a request nonetheless. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Are there questions for the applicant from the commission? Commissioner Brinkman?
So I'm actually a neighbor of yours.
Good.
I live right down the street on 34th. Have you met your immediate neighbors, or what will be your immediate neighbors to the on Webster at least?
We've talked to the lady that owns the property to the east of us.
Okay.
I haven't, but I have a construction foreman that's there every day from 6 till 3, or 6:30 till 3. And he's talked to her. And I guess what I got out of that conversation was that she was kind of surprised that we were fixing the property up. We've talked to the renters that live along Wadsworth to the north of us, and that's it.
Okay. And do you own any other properties in Wheat Ridge that I can reference?
At this time, 4480 Balsam, it's where my mom and dad live,
But no other...
in a subdivision that he built
Okay.
in 1960.
Okay.
We did do something similar to this on Otis Street several years ago. It was also a 2-lot, was it 2 lots, I guess? I've also, that we sold, and those were similar in some respects to the pictures that you saw up above, except what we intend to build on Webster is a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage with a full basement home that has a lot of green in it, and it's doesn't look like a real green. It looks pretty traditional, but it's got a lot of features in it that we're pretty proud of.
So while this doesn't have any, this doesn't really pertain to the subdivision and the variance, are these going to be rentals, or are they going to be for sale?
They're for sale.
Okay. That was it for me. Thank you.
I couldn't hear what did you say they were going to be rentals or they were going to be individually owned?
Individually owned. Individually owned.
Okay, that's for the duplex and the other piece of property?
Well, the Victorian house will be for sale, and I'm thinking about having my son may be interested in the Victorian house. We'll see. What we build on Webster will be townhomes. There'll be 2 townhomes there, and those will be for sale.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. Thank you very much.
You bet.
At this point, we'll open it up for public comment. Are there any folks signed up?
No one has signed up, but people might be interested in testifying.
Indeed. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this point? Yes. Could you step up to the microphone for us so we can all hear you? And could you give us your name and spell your last name, please?
My name is Janet Pren, Prehn.
Great.
And I own the duplex right across the street from where you're building. So, of course, I'm very interested in what's going on. I have, you probably already answered this once, but could you tell me again the width of the driveway going up to the single-family home?
20 feet.
That's pretty wide. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't understand the snow removal. It's pretty wide.
It could be less, but that's,
Residential driveways have to be at least 10 feet wide and no more than 24, so he's got some options. The piece that goes down to Webster is 20 feet, and that's a minimum fire requirement.
Oh, for the driveway? Is
Yes.
20 feet, okay. I mean, I just, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see. Well, I have some questions, but I just want to comment that it's been an I guess some people would say that property is first of all, I should say I have owned my duplex for almost 40 years, so I'm used to looking at nothing over there except trees and that shed, a huge long shed that got taken away, and I've been concerned about what would be built there because, you know, when there's nothing there, at least you're pleased. There's nothing there as compared to when something's built. What's it going to be like? Is it going to be a nicer property or anyway? And we have already been through this with Wheat Ridge with my parents' land, which was subdivided. They sold it in 2000, and it was subdivided in. We were very unhappy with the houses that went in there. They look horrible. We don't live there anymore. So, but we sure hate to drive past. So I was pleased to see your drawing of the duplex. It looks very nice. As long as I've had the house, I'm real picky with. I don't like people with too many cars, and you know, you know that my property is very well taken care of. So. I got a little bit confused. Let me ask you first about the landscaping. Are you going to landscape the house before you sell it?
I'm sorry. You should be directing your questions to us. The applicant is not really the person who should be answering questions.
Oh, is it?
The question should be about the actual variance and the zoning change.
Oh, so I shouldn't ask you about landscaping.
We don't know about landscape. You could ask us, but we really don't know anything about it.
So is that a private conversation I need to have?
Yeah, you should really talk to him
Okay.
outside of this forum about
Okay.
that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
if you got a lot of questions, I can use Gerald.
Oh, sure. Okay. Now, I got a little confused. I don't think this really affects my place at all, but the variance that you were talking about is when you go from I have to ask you. The Webster, when you go west, you're talking about the depth of the lot. It has nothing to do with the duplex, I don't think. I think it only has to do with the single-family home.
Correct.
The variance only has to do with the single-family
Correct.
home. And there was going to be this little piece, if you don't approve the variance, am I correct? There was going to be this funny little piece.
No, the applicant has not asked to have that funny little piece go through. So if we do not approve the variance, then the entire subdivision is moot. It all fails to pass. So there'll be no subdivision if that variance does not pass.
However, if that were to occur, he could always reapply and have a lot configuration with that funny piece that comes off the side.
Right.
And I can put it back up there if you're interested in looking at it again.
Well, I suppose it really doesn't. I mean, frankly, it doesn't have that much to do with my particular with the duplex. It's just that I was trying. It's a very strange place back in there with that other duplex next to it, and that little piece of land. So that, I'm a little confused about that. Could you put it back up?
Sure. And it is confusing if you're not familiar with the vernacular and so on. So, you might be able to see better here, although it's small. So here's how it's laid out now. You're over here. Yeah, and this is Wasler. So it's this piece where the house would be, where the driveway comes down. And they don't meet the 75 feet of, required width. They're only at 68. One of the...
Right here, from here to here?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the things we talked about with him when he originally applied was they could come in with something like this that technically meets the requirement, but it's sort of an illogical lot configuration, if that makes sense.
But that's not what you want?
No.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. Okay. Could you tell me again, so this is the funny one. Where's the real one? Where's the one that you're asking for? I didn't look quick enough.
And it's pretty small. Let me show you. Let me have you take a look. This is just the big size. So you're over here.
Yeah, I got it. And so this would come almost all the way back. Yeah. Okay. So this would be quite a bit deeper than it would need to be, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if people in the audience are interested in looking at this as well.
Okay. Okay, then I have another question. Thank you very much. About, you might have answered, he might have answered it, but I have one more question about the driveway to the single-family home. I don't think it's going to come in from Wadsworth. I think that's what he said. Is that correct?
It's coming in from Webster.
Pardon, it's coming in from Webster, yeah.
He's planning on getting rid of the curb cut from Wadsworth completely.
Okay. Okay, let me see if I have anything else here. Okay. Oh, I did, well, I can't ask you what the house is going to be built out of, can I?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I think that's it then.
Okay. Thank you for coming up and speaking. Did you want to speak? Okay. Could you come up to the microphone, name?
I'm Leroy Ruterbories, Ruterbories.
Thank you.
I too have been in Wheat Ridge all my life. At one point, I did live in Janet's duplex. I'm a homeowner that's right south of the plot at 7525 West 33rd. I think we graduated from high school together. Good to see you again. I just wanted to say that I've lived in my home about 13, coming on 14 years, and I applaud the efforts that are being made here because although it was nice to have all the trees in the back and to have almost a country lot, cleaning up the shed has really helped with the fox population and has really helped with the wildlife, and some of that is dangerous to our pets and to small children, so I appreciate that. I was curious to find out what this was about tonight, and after seeing the drawing and the proposed work, I think it's a great plan. Fully support it.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Anything else?
Nope.
Great. Thanks for coming. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? You look like you're itching to get up there. Could you give us your name and spell your last name for us, please?
My name is Marianne Burgess, Burgess, and I live 3 houses north of that property on the corner of 34th and Webster, and we lived there for 37 years. The only concern I really have is, as you can see, the turnout is minimal because most of that neighborhood is rentals. And I think the city of Wheat Ridge has concerned about rentals anyway. And so what if those townhouses don't sell? Then they'll turn into rentals. And that neighborhood is not a good neighborhood to sell a house in because of all the rentals around it. So it turning into rentals is a big concern again. That's it.
Thank you. Last call. Anyone else who'd like to speak? It's not really the last call, but okay. We'll close the public comment part at this point and open the discussion amongst the commissioners. Commissioner Goki?
After surveying all of the testimony of the applicant, I do applaud the landowner for making some really, really generous concessions here to try to produce a piece of property that makes more sense than what the alternatives might be for this particular piece of property. And given the fact that he's trying to create owner-occupied housing, is huge for Wheat Ridge, because that's one of the things that was pointed out in the NRS also, that we need to be trying to accomplish with this community, is to create owner-occupied housing, which creates stakeholders in the community. So for that reason, I'll be supporting his variance.
Thank you. Commissioner Brinkman?
I am supporting the variance, and I'm supporting the subdivision.
I share the concern that that may not turn into owner-occupied, but I do applaud the effort to turn it into owner-occupied. And this meets kind of my criteria. With the site map B, I feel that a variance is appropriate when you can do something better in the community than what you could do if you followed the rules. And I think that that site map B answers that question for me.
Commissioner Buckman?
Yeah, I'd like to voice my support for approval of the variance. I think staff's concerns about future issues that might come up if the variance isn't approved are warranted. I think that dead zone back there in the sort of south central part of what would be Lot 1 if the variance wasn't approved could pose issues for potentially 3 different landowners. The folks directly to the west on the southwest adjoining property, the folks in the existing house, and the folks in Lot 2. So for that reason, I'll be supporting the variance approval.
Did you have any comment? My brief comment is that I basically don't see this as creating a variance because the lot currently is 68 feet wide at the point where it's at. We're not imposing any new condition on that plot, so the variance seems to be of inconsequential. So for that reason, I'll support the variance. I do have some concerns about the properties turning into rentals. I'm not sure you can do much in addition to what the landowner has done. A single-family home could turn into a rental in the area too. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the area, I think, to a certain degree. So for that reason, I'll be supporting also. At this point, I would turn it over to Commissioner Brinkman for final comments.
No, I was going to make a motion.
Oh, perfect. That's what I was really going to ask for, but you look like you had more to say.
Nope.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. I move to approve case number WA-10-02, a lot width variance considered currently with case number MS-10-01 for property located at 3400 Wadsworth for the following reasons. The requested variance is not inconsistent with adjacent development. The subdivision could be designed so that Lot 1 meets the lot width, but it results in an illogical lot layout. The property owner is proposing a substantial investment in the property, which will result in the construction of 2 new contemporary housing units. A majority of the variance criteria support approval of the request.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And please remember that we need a supermajority on this one.
So with 7 members present, we need 6 positive votes to approve the variance.
Okay.
And if there are less than that, it is denied, and the subdivision is denied de facto.
Understood. Please vote.
Bingo.
I'd entertain a motion for the subdivision.
I'll go again. It's my
Please
neighborhood.
do.
Can we talk to the subdivision before we move on to that? Since
Certainly.
we haven't had a lot of testimony on that.
Certainly.
I have a question for Meredith. Meredith, can we put on a subdivision, can we put some restrictions on certain things that go on the property? Obviously my deal is the snow removal of the 20-foot deal. He being the owner and having full control of those 2 pieces of property at this present time doesn't mean in the future that he would. So therefore, if there's some sort of restriction that's placed on that, at least it would make it more usable for some, down the line. There's already a fence to the north, so all they would be screening is the driveway that's going to be 20 feet long. Is that correct, sir? The driveway is going to be 20 feet wide and about 100 feet long. I think it's 99.8 on the plan. And I didn't know if that was going to be full concrete or what that was going to be.
It won't all be. It won't be 20-foot wide. All there would be a 2-foot. There'd be a couple of feet on either side.
Okay. Okay. And that's fine too. I just that could be a maintenance issue in the future for one or other of the landowners, since you may not be one of the landowners eventually anyways. So you said your son might, but but I was just wanting to know if we could put a restriction on the last 30, 40 feet that approach the street for side angle, and also for visibility, because that yard's going to have a lot of presence to the south, and I just don't want to see anything happening over there with side angles.
I get hesitant with subdivision approvals, and I think our city attorney would agree with that. If we were zoning to plan development, we would have a little bit more flexibility, but I would say no. However, to ease your concern about site distance, we do have a site triangle requirement that, of course, if he does any fencing, we will have to make sure that it doesn't impede vision for people exiting. So that would be my response.
Yeah, and my other concern was, if there's kids or either who's buying the property, that could be a benefit. It could be a problem too. It works out that way. But I have also applaud him. He really is going to produce a nice product there, and I think that's going to bring the neighborhood up to a higher level than it exists right now.
I can tell you, we have no plans to fence that like you described. And I'm really trying to wonder why everybody wants to.
Live in Wheat Ridge long enough, you figure it out. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Meredith.
Any other discussion about the subdivision? No? Would you like to? No. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Please.
I move to approve case number MS-10-01, a request for approval of a 2-lot minor subdivision on R2 zoned property located at 3400 Wadsworth for the following reasons. All requirements of the Article 4 of the Zoning and Development Code have been met, with the following conditions. A subdivision improvement agreement with security be provided at the time of subdivision recording, and fees in lieu of parkland dedication be paid at the time of subdivision recording.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Vote, please. I'm sorry? Thank you for the presentation. At this point, we're ready to move to the other items. That, by the way, that does close the public hearing tonight. And we're ready to move to the eighth agenda item, other items. First up, mixed-use forums, the 38th Avenue between Sheridan and Wadsworth. We have a staff presentation.
Well, actually, no presentation. Just reminding you, we have dates coming up. We've been going through a series of forums concerning our new mixed-use zoning that we've been working on. So the next forum is on 38th Avenue, and it is March 24th here at City Council, here at City Hall. This is where we are. Yes.
Yeah, so next week.
Yes, so anybody who wants to come, more power to you. Yes.
So whatever happened to that?
The Dole report?
Yeah.
We finally got it back from the state, and actually next, and I've talked to a couple folks about this, next week is a study session primarily about 38th Avenue, and they will probably be talking about the results of the report.
Is it available?
I don't know how
And
available.
it's on the Wheat Ridge 2020 website now.
Is it totally on there,
Executive
Steve?
summary is, yeah, I looked
Okay.
Yes,
Executive
not the whole
summary?
thing. Right, not the whole thing.
But I mean, the executive summary is like 25 pages long.
Yeah, the whole thing is an executive. No, so what we need to do as a staff, and I know Sally wants to talk about it tomorrow, is to sit down and try to start, taking those recommendations and formalizing those into some action plans. So, big things happening though. 38th Avenue.
Okay. And then the second to the last agenda item is it's time to elect a new chair and vice chair.
And I just thought I pulled out the bylaws, and thank you for reminding me to do that, John, because I would have been remiss.
No problem.
Oh, sorry. So here is what it says. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 in the case, blah, blah, blah.
It says blah, blah, blah.
It says, the chairman shall be elected each year on a rotating basis at the next regular meeting after appointments in March, and he or she shall not succeed herself. It shall be the first order of business, and it's by secret ballot. So there's no nominations.
I can do this, but do you want to describe the duties and the pitfalls of being the chairman?
I'd rather close the door.
Okay.
For all you new folks, there are no pitfalls. Then you are perfect for this job.
Yes.
Got here. I just got
You are perfect for this job.
He's not only perfect, he's groomed.
Well, no, I didn't. Pitfalls is a strong word. So what I wanted to say is, so the rules are, for example, you can't speak until you don't make motions. Number one, you don't speak until everybody else has spoken.
You act as parliamentarian.
Right.
They are out of order, so you have to kind of be familiar with Robert's rules.
Try to keep the meeting rolling along.
Sometimes they can be pretty contentious, as we all know.
The biggest thing is you can't make motions,
Right.
and you have to wait until everybody's spoken before you can voice your opinion, so that you're not swaying anybody else.
Right.
That's it.
Nothing's changed in 8 years.
It won't either, I'm guessing.
So, John, no, I'm remiss. Ann, are you vice chair?
No,
No.
Dick is.
Dick is vice chair.
Dick is vice chair, so he cannot be vice chair.
But he
And
could be chair.
Yes, he could be chair, and I cannot be chair. Notice the big grin.
So with that, does everybody have, we'd be voting for...
That was the best thing you ever did to me, was making me the chair for
Did
2
we
months.
just go to the highest number of chairs?
That's the best thing that ever happened.
Well, we usually do it twice. We do chair first,
Okay.
and then we do it again for vice chair.
Right. So everybody will vote for chair. We'll collect those, see who's chair. Then we'll do vice chair. We'll collect those, and Meredith will count those also.
Cup.
Oh, good.
Just,
Pass it around.
I know, he'll have his short.
Cup. Get the right one. Did you get the one? with
Don't
the
forget,
right
I get to drink out of that later, guys.
You go, Steve. Should have done something else to it.
No, I just saw them both folded, so. I never look. That's not appropriate.
Are you going to keep track? Are you going to write, record?
That's what she does.
As I read?
That's her job.
I'm the one. I'm not one on Dake.
Well, for a secret ballot, you can't holler across the room.
Number 1, Ann Brinkman. Uh-oh.
Shoot.
Number 2, Alan. Oh. Number 3. How come I can't read this writing? Oh, no. Alan. No.
Wow.
Is it Dick? It's Dick.
Just say it's Dick.
Penmanship, please. Dick.
Uh-oh.
Dick.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're Dick.
Dean.
Oh, no.
Alan. So we've got 2 for Alan, 1 for, wait a minute, 1 for Ann, 2 for Alan, 1 for Dean, and 3 for Dick Matthews.
Congratulations.
Who's our new chair.
Bravo.
Can you put your name on your own slip of paper, Dick?
I did not.
That said Dirk, I was looking at. Okay, so Dick. Okay. Now we are doing vice. So Ann, do you have? Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's been a long day.
We should have voted Mark.
Cup. Cup. We should have voted who?
There should be a penalty for not being here.
That's true. You should have said that earlier.
Oh, yeah, he's not here, is he? We could make him chair and vice chair.
Mark, if you're out there, you're lucky.
John.
Oh.
We've got an Alan. We've got a Steve Timms. Oh.
It's a horse race.
We've got a John Dwyer. He might not be as off the hook as you think. We've got an Ann Brinkman. We have another Ann Brinkman.
And
The great Karnak. Alan Bucknam.
I knew that one.
Okay, so we've got a 3-way runoff between Ann, John, and Alan. Oh, my God. Yes. So it's
Okay,
Ann.
now remember Mark.
Right now.
you can't.
Oh.
It's just 3 people left now.
Yeah, I don't think we can introduce a new.
Why
It's
not?
an Alan
There's no
John.
rule.
And
Yeah,
Ann.
right.
There's absolutely no rule.
It doesn't say that there's a rule about it. That's true. Right. Now everybody vote for Mark.
Yeah, everybody vote for Mark now.
Yes.
My lovely assistant.
Boy, they're getting narrow now, Ann.
Small.
We're running out of paper.
Right.
Small but legible.
Dirk.
Here, you want to just do the. What the heck? The other thing we didn't do, because I got detained in the hallways, we didn't welcome our new members. Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Welcome them privately beforehand.
Yes, we did.
Some of you are welcoming me
But
right
now, I think we're still on camera. Welcome to all
Are
of
you
our
feeling
new.
the love?
Yeah, Alan's feeling the love. Welcome to our new members and introduction. Mr. Dean Goki, who has joined us from City Council. Mr. George Pond, who has joined us from Parks and Rec. And Mr. Alan Bucknam, who has joined us from the Board of Adjustment.
So, Alan, your district,
District 1?
that's what I thought.
Yep.
Your district,
3.
your district.
2.
Okay, we've got 2 Allens. We've got 3 Allens. Wow. We've got an Ann. We've got another Ann.
Oh, people.
We've got another John. Oh my God! Nope, Alan's it. It's Alan. It's 2 Ann, 2 John, 3 Alan.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Congratulations. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will be fishing in June.
I move for adjournment.
Second.
Vote. the last time you get to do that.
It is. I didn't vote for you.
For the next year.
I know how much you don't like it, so I didn't vote for you.
Thanks. It actually was not.
And here I was telling the new people that you guys would all take them easy on it, and then what do you do? You elect Alan vice chairman.